Hello, this is Bart from Textures. You are listening to Louder.
So I'm here with Bart of Textures.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you.
Okay, how's the tour going?
It's going very well. This is now the fifth day. Yesterday we had a day off. It was nice.
What were you doing?
We were in Dublin for a full day, so we just walked around in the city all day and had some good food, and we went swimming actually and had a sauna. So just fully charged now to continue again.
So it's good to hear that you're actually enjoying touring that's not just on stage, but actually seeing the world.
Yeah,
Okay,
for sure.
Sounds great. For the last few years, you guys have been messing around with definitions. Just kind of annoying everybody that's into definitions. Is that the reason why you write music?
Well, we always see it just as progressive metal, or just metal we would like to call it. But yeah, as people want to know more, like, what should I think about then? If I think of progressive metal or just metal. Yeah, they want something more, so yeah, they define it in several ways. But yeah, I think that's still the best definition for us.
So progressive kind of lets you do whatever you want, and then the people that want something more specific is going to have to listen to the album and be annoyed.
And also listen to several albums. Also, I look at progressive bands as being progressive over the years for themselves, that you can see them grow as a band. They get more thought through. Also, the songs grow more adult or go a really defined direction that the band chooses for, and that's what I like about the progressive music. Not especially the technical stuff. Technical doesn't mean progressive right away. It should be I like always music which makes me think. Like, so just some simple parts are cool. But after that, that it may confuse you or something, and that messes with your head, and that's the cool thing about this kind of music. It can confuse you, but in a way pull you into the song as well and take you on a journey because it's not what you would expect.
So touring with Amorphous, is it affecting the next generation, the next vibe of Textures? Because they've been changing and becoming very versatile over the last 25 years. So are you going to be more like them?
No, I wouldn't say so. This tour was a good opportunity for us to do now, and it's a big band. They've been around for years, and but yeah, they're quite different than us. If you look at the style of them, and they play great halls, and they have some epic parts and big heavy parts, and that's what we are like similar. But yeah, in some parts we are way more heavy, or like freaky stuff is going on, and yeah. So that way, I don't think they will influence us in that way. We are more influenced by listening to music and letting other people throw music at us, and listening to music with other people. For example, in the tour bus we're sharing the tour bus with the first band, Poem, now from Greece. And yeah, every night we just play some music, or we just search each other's library, like, hey, what do you listen to? What do you listen to? That's what really inspires me, like music of what other people listen to.
It's not the scariest thing ever that somebody goes to your music library and then finds something that should not be there.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, a Miley Cyrus cover.
No. Well, I listen to a lot of different music, also electronic music, and even some danceable music. I'm not afraid of that. I'm not scared. No.
So what's the song or the band that's going to surprise your fans the most that's actually on your playlist?
Yeah, it's a good one. I have to think.
Or was there a song that you had to explain yourself for listening to it?
Well, I listened to The Empire of the Sun.
Okay.
It's really poppy, a bit hipster music. But they're really creative, they are. And it's just very minimal and a bit weird. And the singer has a really weird voice that you have to like or you hate it. But yeah, I like it. It's because it's just creative. And I like it because it's not as simple as as a Miley Cyrus, for example. Even she has some good songs, but the happy stuff, that's not my thing. And that's what I like about Empire of the Sun. It's all a bit melancholic while still danceable.
So I gotta ask, are you a wrecking ball? No? You treat ladies properly.
Yes, of course.
So it's been about 5 years since the previous album, and then Phenotype came out. And a lot of people were wondering where you guys went. And then all of a sudden you come back with 2 albums. You got Phenotype that was just released, and then Genotype that's coming out hopefully next year.
Yes.
So again, do you just like messing with people's heads? So going away for 5 years, they're like, oh, yeah, we have 2 albums now.
Yeah. Well, we always like to surprise ourselves, and with that way surprise our fans as well. But yeah, we started writing, and a lot of ideas came to the table, and we were thinking like, we want to do something special, like maybe one album of 80 minutes, or a double album, like 2 discs in one jewel case. But we thought like, sometimes with metal bands, if you see it with 2 discs that are like full-length albums in one jewel case, in one release, it's too much info, simply, especially with our music. Like, then you have like 1.5 hour or 2 hours of music. Yeah, after 10 songs, you don't remember the first song anymore. So that's why we thought, hey, let's just look at the material that we have and sort of divide it and split it in a way that it still feels like one album. You still will hear the different kind of melodies on the different albums, but in a different form, or a different chord structure that you find on the second album as well. And that way, keep it as a whole, but yeah, just divide it as 2 albums, and also time-wise, just release it in a different year.
I heard some weird stuff about the next album, about Genotype, because as you mentioned it, some things are going to happen again on the next album. So is it the same songs again, just under a new name, or what's going to happen there?
No, it are mostly quite new parts, but overall you can see Phenotype, the album we released right now, as one album. It's quite song-based. It has 9 tracks, all with a head and a tail, straightforward, really energetic, and mostly up-tempo and high-speed stuff, really aggressive. And the second album, Genotype, will be more stretched out, and it will feel like one song of 45 minutes.
Is it actually going to be one track?
Yes, that's the goal. Well, we have to divide it a bit in parts for the listener to keep it so you can just skip a part if you want, or you want to go to a different part, but it will feel like one song. And if you play it from the head to the start, it doesn't stop. And that was the big challenge to do for us. So we had that as a goal, one big song, but then also we had parts that were for the first album that didn't make the first album. So we still have parts of songs that sound a lot like the songs we have now, but they will come back, but differently, different tempo, much slower, or a singing melody that will come back as a guitar melody, that kind of stuff.
Is it not going to be really difficult?
More subtle stuff, not really complete songs you will hear again.
Okay.
So.
Is it not going to be really difficult to support that kind of album when you go on tour?
That's true, no, but that's not what we're planning. In the past we've had, for example, we had on our first album, there's the last song is Polars. It's one song of 18 minutes. And we've played like parts of that song live and just made a sort of a medley of that song, just to to be able to play it, at least we just took a few riffs and then a whole part of like 5 or 6 minutes of that song, and then stopped it and with a little break and stop and go on with another song. That kind of stuff we like to do as well.
Okay, so it keeps it even more interesting for the fans because they get something else from what they got on the album.
And you really see when people in the crowd know the song and they see what we're doing, like, hey, this is this song, but whoa, this is different. Whoa, now it's and they go on with an older song again. That kind of stuff. So yeah, it's nice to do.
Okay, so it also keeps it interesting for you.
Yeah, also you can mess around with just the songs like that.
I heard that part of the reason that it took you about 5 years to come up with the new album was because you lost a member and it took you a few months to find Joe.
Yeah.
And then somebody mentioned that it took you some time to get used to each other. What does that mean? It kind of sounded like an old couple that the kids leave the house when they're 18 and then all of a sudden they realize that they're alone and they have to find themselves again. So you already had 5 members and then Joe joined?
Yeah.
So what does it mean getting used to each other?
Yeah, well, we had different member changes as well in the past, but also when someone comes new in this band, I think this band especially, we use quite different rhythms than other bands do. So Joe had to get used to that kind of rhythmic things, and but also for me, for example, Joe comes up with ideas. We've written things together. Joe comes up with ideas that I have to get used to. Like, wow, that's a cool way of thinking to construct a cool passage for a song. So that way, yeah, you just have to get used to each other musically, especially, not personally, because Joe is just a great guy, and it was pretty clear that it was just very okay from the start. So especially musically. Yeah, you have to find each other. It takes a bit of time. It's not like that it's completely different, but also you have to practice together. You also have to write together. All in between, we had to tour together and do a few shows, get into that kind of stuff. And once we got used to being together and playing together a lot, then you lock into each other, into each other's frequency. And you write more easily and more fast than if I would just write from the start with Joe. It would not go that easily as we've just played and practiced a lot together, and yeah, just getting used to each other. Yeah, I think it's always necessary, and it's worth it. Take the time for that.
Was it easy to get Joe into the democracy of the band? I heard that you guys write for each other, just as a group?
True. Yeah, he had to get used to it a bit, I must say.
Okay, was he too much of a tyrant or too much of a follower?
No, well, he already got quite a lot of parts. He had some parts written at home, and he was already really attached to those. For one part, it was a whole song he wrote. And we all thought, like, wow, this is really, really great. But maybe that little part, 1 minute or 2 minutes from the start, could be different. And he was like, just think about it, because it's really good. And yeah, we just still edit it together. And now he thinks also, in the end, it's like, wow, this is really cool. It's like first half is different than his stuff, and the second half is literally what he wrote. We didn't edit anything. It's just what he delivered to the table was like, okay, album worthy. We don't edit anything, just record it like that. It was really cool. So we got lucky with that as well, to have someone like Joe delivering stuff like that. Really cool.
Another question about the album that's coming out. I asked a friend who's a biologist, and he told me that the genotype kind of influences the phenotype. So why is phenotype coming out before genotype?
Yeah, that's a good one. But yeah, we thought of that because the genotype is where the genes are. It's like the source of every being on the planet. You get that from your parents, or like a plant got this from the seed from his parent plant, as you would look at it like that. But so those are the genes, and the phenotype is how that creature grew over time. And over time also for different people, or for example, I like to take the example of a twin. Two twins, they have the same genes, they look the same in the start, but if they both live in different parts of the world, their look will be different, simply. If you live in a cold environment, your skin will be very much different than when you live in the sun your whole life, for example, or when you drink a lot of heavy alcohol your whole life, it will be looking very different. So the environment changes the source material, and that's what it's about. And that's why you see the phenotype. You see it as first because it's the appearance of a being. And if you search deeper and deeper, then you come to the source material.
Okay, so going into the source.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not a timeline.
Yeah.
Again, it feels like you're trying to confuse the fans, because I'm kind of getting my head around metal and politics, but now you got metal and jeans. So how did you come up with the idea of mixing those two things that do not usually mix together?
Well, it's a bit the idea of Uri. His brother studies biologics. So he kind of came up with that idea. We had these songs, and that's what I was thinking as well. We have these ideas, musical ideas. Also, even we have old ideas from like 10 years ago. And sometimes I like to take an old MP3 of an old idea of myself and look at it again and try to record it again and see what it becomes like, what it grows to. And sometimes it can grow into something really cool, and sometimes it's just useless and I think, never mind, put it away. But sometimes, it's really like a little diamond you can find, like, whoa, this is actually pretty cool, and I can make it grow into something big again. So that's also like taking something old that is just a source ID from ages ago, and make it grow into something different by just messing around with it, making it sound better, or making the tempo go up, or anything. So it's a bit messing around with the source material of ideas.
Okay. Makes more sense now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you've mentioned Uri, and I think Zman is his song.
Yeah.
He wrote the instrumental part of it?
Yes.
So first of all, if I'm mistaken, Zman means time in Hebrew.
Yes.
Is Uri fluent in Hebrew?
Yes, he is.
Okay, so does he bring more Hebrew or the Hebrew culture to the table, and does it affect the creating?
Well, like this, he brings more Hebrew to the table, of course, and also Joe is born in Israel, so he's fluent in Hebrew as well. Yeah, we thought like, it's cool to use different languages in our music. Steph always had the idea of doing a French title, for example, or maybe some lyrics in French, or even a different language. But why not Hebrew? Because it has a link with Joe and Uri. That's why we did it. It's cool.
And then the song itself kind of combines into the following track, which is Timeless.
Yeah.
So you have time and timeless. So how do they sync up together? How do they not collide? Because you have Zman, which first of all has no words. It's just an instrumental bit.
Yeah.
And as we said, Zman means time. And then the following one kind of contradicts it. It's called Timeless, so the lack of time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you decided to end the album with the two songs that refer to time or the lack of time.
Mm-hmm.
So what does it mean to you?
No, it was more of a cool thing just to put them together like that. Because the melody that you hear in the piano part and the melody in the part with the whole band in Timeless, they are the same. So they literally repeat also the whole passage, the whole chord structure repeats at the end of Timeless. So in that way, that's the same, and would be. We just thought it would be cool to have like contradicting titles with that, also with the Hebrew. it's better than time and timeless. That would be boring. But now it's special to just have something Hebrew.
Yeah, and also you've taught some of the fans some Hebrew as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're going to search like, what's this?
Is there anything you can add about Genotype? It should be coming next year. But is there already a specific date or something we should know about?
Well, at the moment it's like written for 80%, 70, 80%. So we still have to record it this year. And that's the planning as well. And this year we do this tour and summer festivals, maybe just before autumn, last tour of this year, and then we start focusing on recording again. So by the end of this year, we'll record it, and like early next year, it should be possible to release it.
Okay, sounds great.
Yeah.
Bart, is there anything else you would like to add to fans and listeners?
Come to our show whenever you're in the neighborhood.
Okay, Bart, thank you very much.
Cool.
Enjoy the rest of the tour.
Thank you very much.
I cannot wait for Genotype.
All right.
Okay, thank you for your time.